when I was a kid, we lived outside of Washington, D.C., and this was in the middle 60s. I was about 13. And I convinced my parents to let me buy this rifle, which is a 1903 Springfield, which was the standard U.S. Army rifle for World War I and the early days of World War II. And this particular one was manufactured by Remington in the early 50s. You can tell that by the serial number. And I've had this all these years and had never even shot it till last year. And so my intention all that time was to sportsterize it. I always wanted to hunt with this gun, and now I have a chance. Now I have the time. I'm retired. I'm 65. Maybe I'm too old to learn this stuff, but I'm going to give it a go, and it's going to be interesting to share my experiences with other people. And I'm not really interested in arguing about whether to hunt or not to hunt, or why you would or wouldn't. I'm going to hunt. I want to learn how to hunt, and I'll find out whether I like it or not. And if I don't like it, I'll quit. But if I do like it, I'm going to keep going. When I bought this, it was very common for people to buy these surplus rifles and sportsterize them, to turn the barrels down, to remove the iron sights, to equip them for scopes, and to put new stocks on. And I got partway through that process, but I never put a new stock on. So it's got the original stock, but it's got a turned down barrel that's lighter, and it's drilled for this scope. The bolt has been altered to clear the scope, because stock it would have hit the scope and you couldn't have done it. And the safety's been altered to clear the scope also. So it's kind of a bastard gun, but it's one I've had almost all my life, and so I'm going to use it, and I'm going to take pride in using it properly. Well, I think as a kid, my original motivation was just the adolescent bloodlust of hunting, wanting to, do a manly thing. But now that I'm 65, it's a much different kind of feeling, I think. And I thought it was really well expressed by a guy named Pete Dunn, who's a natural history writer. And he talked about how, as a bird watcher, he's one of the audience. He's an observer of nature. He's watching the play as if it's on a stage. But as a hunter, he's one of the actors. He's on the stage. He's in the story. And so I'm interested in exploring that role as a human, as a person in the woods. You get a different relationship with the outdoors if you hunt. And people talk all the time about, well, I had a good hunt. I didn't get a deer, but I had a good hunt. So what's that mean? I want to find out what that means. In the course of my research, I came across a book by a fellow named Tovar Cerulli, who was a vegan, and he writes about how he was having health issues, so he started eating meat again. And then he started thinking about, well, if I'm going to eat meat, I need to be responsible for killing some of it, or else I'm not being ethical. That was his point of view. And so he taught himself how to hunt, and he took a hunter safety course, and he started going out in the woods, and he coined the term adult onset hunting, which is pretty funny when you think about it. But he's not alone. I'm not the only one. A lot of people are doing this. A lot of people are coming to this idea, coming to this place in their lives where they feel they can start to hunt. And so they don't have the traditional means of doing that. They don't have their father or uncle to teach them. So they have to look out to other people. They have to read books. They have to join hunting clubs or organizations. They have to find someone who will teach them. And that's a hunt also, is to find the information. That's a hunt, and then you use that on your hunt for the animal. It all becomes a means of being more invested in the outdoors, in the woods, in the wilderness, in the world around you, that we all need to care for, really, because, you know, it's, for all its resilience, it's vulnerable to humans. So part of that appreciation for the wild, for the outdoors, for the natural world, comes from being part of it yourself as a predator, I think. And so when you become a predator yourself, you want to have game. And if you want to have game, you need to have habitat. And so habitat loss is the single greatest threat to wildlife, fish and wildlife. You know, I've written for 30 years about the decline of salmon and steelhead in the Northwest. And it's primarily loss of habitat. And so the more people who care about preserving the habitat, the better it is for the world around us and all of us, I think.